The Ombudsman's annual report is a compilation of case studies carried out following complaints from members of the public. But it's also considered by the Ombudsman to be a reflection of social needs, and the statistics generated are an indication of the bigger picture. Housing is always a headline grabber. This year, the department has generated 38% of complaints received by the Ombudsman's office. But Mario Hook says there is a downward trend and believes housing will always be top of the list.
Housing, I have always said, will always be high in the complaints list, if not the highest, because of the huge social need. But we also have to take into account, as regards the work of my office, health. Health complaints are also now coming up when people need to complain and exhaust their avenues before coming here. With the health, we are the entry portal for every single complaint. So the numbers are of a different nature. No? So we are accounting. But health is also a very heavy workload within our office.
In this year's report, the Ombudsman has provided some food for thought in his opening statements. He's recommending a comprehensive review of the social housing situation in Gibraltar, with means testing for the level of rent paid and perhaps mandatory home insurance, so that the taxpayer doesn't have to cover things like flooding or fire damage.
One of the things that I'm saying, well, rent, when was it last reviewed? This is not something for me. We deal with administrative issues, and this is perhaps a political matter that needs to be dealt at the political level.
You're talking about the amounts of what people pay for rent.
Whether there's a need for a review or not. I think that the last review was held sometime in the 80s. The level of rent being paid, to be honest, by any measure, is quite low, especially if you compare it to the private. In fact, it's very hard to compare one with the other. I think that there is a need to look at rent, to look at whether it should be means the actual allocation of a flat should be means tested or not. This is an issue that you could not talk about some years back because there wasn't a market. But now government is building more and more, and they are making available more and more flats for the public to buy at a very reasonable price. So should we not, I'm asking, should we not assess whether someone is entitled to be allocated what is in essence social housing? Perhaps there are many who could afford to buy at the prices that government is selling, which I think is a very reasonable price.
Turning to the work of the Ombudsman in general, a public survey reveals that 90% of Gibraltar knows the office is there, but 65% have never used it. Mr. Hook says the level of public awareness makes his service the envy of Ombudsman's officers worldwide. And the fact that only 35% have needed to use the office is a good reflection of the state of public services in general.